Hi, welcome to Knit Locally, and this is going to be our tutorial on German short rows. So short rows are actually a method of creating additional fabric between 2 points, say here and here, without creating an entire row. They're literally just short rows. So it would be a row from say here to here continuously. And this is actually acting like, say, bust darts if you're making a blouse in sewing. So what we're going to do is actually a method called German short rows. And these are actually creating sort of a double stitch that you then knit together. So let me demonstrate. What I would do is I'm going to knit across per my pattern. This is actually continental knitting, but I will purl back English. So you just knit in pattern to say the second to last stitch. You knit that as normal, turn your work, and this is where it gets interesting. What you want to do is, this is your purl side, so what you want to do is keep your yarn in front. You're going to slip that last stitch so that it is on your right hand needle. You're going to pull your yarn all the way over so that it's in back as if to knit, and you see this creates sort of a double stitch, right? Okay, so then you're going to purl back, so you're going to pull it all the way around, right, and purl. So this creates this double stitch here. And you would purl to the stitch indicated. And if you're doing something like a shoulder or the hem on a sweater or a heel, these are done symmetrically. So this is my second to last stitch. So I'm going to purl it just like normal. I'm going to flip it around. Now this was actually a purl stitch. So what you do on the front side is you do bring your yarn in front, which is a little counterintuitive, but you get into a rhythm. So you bring your yarn in front, you slip that stitch purl-wise from your left hand needle to your right hand needle, right? Slip it right over, and then you pull it. And see, it does create this double stitch. It looks a little bit differently on your knit side. So you create that double stitch right like there. And because you're knitting, your yarn is already in back, so you don't have to move it. And so then you just continue knitting. So what we're gonna do, and I'll knit English for those of you who are knitting like English. So what I will do is actually just knit to say 2 stitches before my, so this was my double stitch, I'm gonna knit to this one. So we're gonna do that again. So what I would do is, this is my double stitch, 1 stitch, so I'm gonna turn my work again. And I'm going to slip that stitch, right? It's on the purl side, and then I'm going to bring it all the way over and around, because I need to purl. That creates that double stitch. And I will purl all the way over. If you were doing this continental style, you would just purl back, same as usual. So this is I leave 1 stitch, that's my double stitch. That's how it kind of looks. It looks a little twisted, it's totally fine, right? Then I'm going to turn my work, bring my yarn in front because it was a purl stitch, slip it, pull it back, and then let's actually resolve our stitches. So what I would do is I would knit over, and we're just gonna knit the whole row. So I'm gonna knit this whole row, and if you are English, you're gonna see how this has 2 little legs down here. It's 2 little legs. So 1 leg, 2 legs. You're going to knit them together. So be sure and get them together. Knit them together. And if you're continental, again, you're just gonna grab these 2 legs. There are 2 legs here, so you can see these 2 legs right here and here. You're gonna knit them together. That is what resolves that stitch, and make sure there's no hole. And so you can see it's nearly invisible. Right. And then let's purl back and show you how to resolve those. So what you would do, I generally, if I'm doing a sample, just slip the first stitch, so we'll continue to do that. And then I'll show you how it's created just slightly additional fabric. So we're going to purl all the way back here. Okay, so purling, see how you have two little legs? See how I have two legs here, 1 and 2. Oh, they're hard to see, but so 1 and 2. And you just want to purl those together. You can see it once I get it on the needle. So there's 2 there. We just purl them together, right? Knit. And see how this has 2 legs right here, 1 and 2. And you just want to purl those together as if it's 1. And they are resolved. And now let's look at the front side. So you can now see how this has created a slightly, because we only did 2 rows, it's a slight curve in the fabric. And that is actually what the short rows are creating, because you've actually knit these stitches more than you've knit these edge stitches. So it creates just this curve. And these again are used a nice shoulder slope. So you can see how that would be a nice shoulder slope. Or you can use it on a hem to create a high-low hem. Or it is done to create a back of the neck that is deeper. So that's German short rows.